Tonight, you swipe a card without even glancing at the number. It beeps, it approves. You walk away with something in your hand, and nothing visibly gone from your pocket. But what's actually happening with your money is far stranger than a beep and a receipt. Somewhere between that swipe and your bank balance, an entire hidden system decided what you were allowed to do with your own money. And almost nobody ever explains how that system actually works. Start with a basic question most people never ask. Where does money actually come from? The common answer is that banks simply store the money customers deposit and lend it back out. That picture feels intuitive. It's also incomplete. Modern banking research, including work published by the Bank of England itself, has confirmed that most money in the economy isn't printed by a government mint. It's created the moment a bank issues a loan. When a bank approves your mortgage or your car loan, it isn't handing over money that was sitting in a vault. It's creating a new number in your account and a matching debt on the other side of the ledger. That single fact rewires how you should think about money. It isn't a fixed pile that gets divided up. It's expanded and contracted constantly, based on decisions made inside institutions you'll never see the inside of. So, if the system is built on lending, what does that mean for you personally? It means the system doesn't just want you to have money, it wants you in a relationship with debt. Here's where psychology enters the picture. Behavioral economist Richard Thaler spent decades studying why people make financial decisions that clearly work against their own long-term interests. One of his core findings is something called present bias. Humans consistently overvalue an immediate reward and undervalue a future cost, even when they can do the math correctly in their head. You can know intellectually that carrying a balance on a credit card is expensive. Present bias means that knowledge often loses to the pull of getting the thing right now. Banks aren't ignorant of this. Products like credit cards, buy now, pay later plans, and low minimum payments are structured around exactly this bias. The system isn't accidentally exploiting a weak spot in human psychology. It's built directly on top of it. Here's the second hidden truth. The amount of debt available to you isn't a reflection of what you can actually afford. It's a reflection of what's profitable to lend you. Economist Amir Sufi, alongside his research partner Atif Mian, studied household debt leading up to the 2008 financial crisis and found something unsettling. Lenders had extended enormous amounts of credit to households that had very little ability to repay it, not because of a miscalculation, but because short-term profit from issuing the loans outweighed the long-term risk, at least from the lender's perspective. Their research helped show that rising household debt was one of the clearest early warning signs of the crisis that followed, visible in the data years before it became visible in headlines. The uncomfortable lesson underneath that research is simple. Just because you're approved for a loan doesn't mean the loan was designed with your well-being in mind. Approval means profitability, nothing more. So how do you build wealth inside a system that's structured this way? The first step is understanding that debt itself isn't inherently the enemy. Debt used to acquire something that grows in value, education, a reasonably priced home, a business investment, behaves very differently from debt used to fund a lifestyle that depreciates the moment you drive it off the lot or wear it out the door. The system doesn't distinguish between the two. You have to. The second step is recognizing your own present bias and designing around it instead of relying on willpower to overcome it in the moment. If a decision only feels good the instant you make it and quietly costs you for years afterward, that gap is the trap closing. Automating savings, setting a waiting period before non-essential purchases, and keeping high-interest debt visible instead of buried are all ways of putting a speed bump between your present-focused brain and a decision your future self will resent. The third step is understanding leverage and using it deliberately instead of accidentally. Leverage means using borrowed money to control an asset larger than what you could otherwise afford. Used carefully on something that appreciates, leverage can accelerate wealth building significantly. Used carelessly on something that depreciates, it accelerates the opposite. It's the exact same tool, aimed in two very different directions. Here's the part almost nobody says out loud. Wealth isn't built by avoiding the financial system entirely. That's nearly impossible in a modern economy. Wealth is built by understanding the system's incentives well enough that you stop being its raw material and start using its tools on your own terms. Consider two people who both take out a loan in the same year. One uses it to buy a modest rental property that generates income and slowly appreciates. The other uses it to fund a lifestyle upgrade that depreciates from the moment it's purchased. 5 years later, the loan is gone in both cases. One person now owns an asset that continues paying them. The other owns nothing but the memory of the money and possibly a payment history to match. Same system, same tool. Two completely different outcomes, decided entirely by understanding the mechanics instead of simply reacting to what the system made easy. So here's the real question to sit with the next time your card gets approved. Not, can I afford this? But, who actually benefits from me having access to this money right now? Is it building something that will still be yours in 10 years? Or is it quietly building someone else's balance sheet, using your future income as the fuel? Tonight, you'll swipe a card again without even glancing at the number. But now, that beep means something different. It's not just approval. It's a signal from a system